Hello and welcome to this episode of On Location. Last year, 2019, I went to Amsterdam where I recorded a 2-day conference and I made an On Location episode all about that and the gear I used and things like that. Now in this episode, in 2020, I've been to the same conference and I've brought some very different gear but with very similar output, and I just wanted to show you how things have changed over the year and how the ATEM Mini has made a lot of that possible. So for 2019, here's a breakdown of all the gear that I brought. I had the two cameras, the Canon XA11 and G25, the ATEM Television Studio, which was the main center of all the devices, the HyperDeck Studio Mini for recording, a backup recorder, the AverMedia LPG2. I used the Stream Deck for ATEM control with Companion. Then I had a router to bring all these network devices together, a HDMI monitor for multi-view, the Ninja 5 for program recording. I used the Blackmagic Video Assist for a backup recording of the presentations. I had my decimator for a signal conversion from the venue to my video assist. I also had SDI to HDMI converters for each camera and a whole lot of cables. With all this gear, I could capture talks over 2 days. That includes a close-up of the presenter on stage, a wide shot of the room, and their presentation slides as well, and I would mix those all together into the final videos. I could also do ISO recordings of each of the sources, so the cameras were recording internally, and I had the presentation backed up on that video assist. But let's fast forward to 2020, and I did the same gig, but with very different gear. So I still have those two cameras, the XA11 and the G25. Then I have the ATEM Mini at the center of it all. I'm using the Ninja 5 to record the program, and the video assist is still getting an ISO of the presentations. I used the decimator to get the signal from the venue to my ATEM. And then finally I have my laptop, but this isn't actually used for the setup because I didn't need to use Companion or anything like that. So you can see the gear is pretty different from one year to the next, and I think that's almost entirely thanks to the ATEM Mini. Things that were missing from the 2019 setup were multi-view because the ATEM Mini doesn't have that built in, and I didn't have a backup recording of the program like I did in the previous year. But because each of the sources were recording separately, then I could just re-edit things if I really needed to. I was also able to skip all the networking gear as well, because basically the reason for the router before was so that I could connect the ATEM and the HyperDeck to my computer and then connect that to the Stream Deck. So because the ATEM Mini has buttons on the front, I didn't really need to bring the Companion software, the Stream Deck, or any of the networking gear. But what I'm mostly happy about is that I could get basically the exact same results the next year, but with way less gear. Now of course the ATEM Television Studio has loads of features that I didn't quite get to, more inputs than the ATEM Mini and things like that. But for this gig, all I needed was those two cameras and a third source to get the presenters' presentations. So it didn't really matter, and I didn't need all those extra inputs for no reason. On a side note, if you are interested in the software I'm using, it's called H2R Gear and it's all new from Here to Record. You can learn more at heretorecord.com/gear. I do hope you found this useful, and you can see how gear changes over the year, especially whenever new devices are introduced and smaller devices. You don't have to bring your bigger gear anymore. Also, the prices are so low on these things that you can have a few different sets for a few different reasons, which really works out in my case. And the ATEM Television Studio HD is still sitting in the room, ready to go whenever a bigger gig comes along. Now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video of On Location.